Hello, I welcome you all to the maths class. Already you have learned in chapter linear equations and inequations. What are linear equations? How to solve the sums of linear equations? And some word problems based on linear equations. And today we are going to learn about inequations. What are linear inequations? What are the signs? How to solve the linear inequations? What are the properties and all? We are going to learn. So, linear inequations greater than, smaller than, greater than or equal to, smaller than or equal to, these are the signs of inequality. Equation means something is equal to something, equal to sign. But inequality means greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. These are the signs of inequality. Okay? Let me give you some examples of inequalities. X plus 5 is greater than 7. Similarly, 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 10. We can see here x plus 5, here 7, both these are in between them, greater than sign is there. So this is an inequality. Similarly, 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 10. 2x minus 3 is one expression, 10 is another expression against a number, and the relation between these two is given as less than or equal to. So this is also an inequation. And the highest, only one variable is here x. Here also only one variable x. Their highest power is only 1. So they are linear inequations. Linear inequations. Already I told you, I have explained you, or you have learned what are linear equations. Linear means linear equations in one variable. Okay. Highest power is 1. I hope by now it is clear to you what are linear inequations. Now, let us learn some properties of linear inequations. Okay. Or properties of inequalities also we can say. Some properties. And here, very important thing you have to remember is that in an inequation, both the sides of inequalities or an inequation, if we add, subtract, multiply or divide by a positive integer or positive number, I can say maybe a fraction, decimal, whatever it may be, the sign of inequality does not change. But when we add or subtract both the sides of an equation by a negative number also, the sign of inequality does not change. But when we multiply or divide both the sides of an equation by a negative number, the sign of inequality changes. How is that and what is that? Let me explain you. Okay? Properties. Let me give you. When we add, subtract, what I said, let me write. Multiply or divide both the sides of an equation by a positive number, the sign of inequality does not change. And for this, let me give you some examples. Okay? Clear example I will give you. If x is greater than y, then x plus a is greater than y plus a. X minus a, if x is greater than y, x plus a is greater than y plus a. X minus a is greater than y plus a, y minus a. X a is greater than ya, that is multiplication. X by a is greater than y by a. If x, then this, if a is positive. If a is positive. Okay, if a is negative, what happens? Let me explain. Okay, for this, let me give you one example. A real example I will give you, with the numbers I will give you, so that you will understand better why. Why here no change, why negative integer there will be change. We know that 4 is greater than 3. Okay. Let me add both the sides of this inequation by 2. This implies 4 plus 2 is greater than 3 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, is greater than 5. Yes or no? Same way, 4 minus 2 is greater than 3 minus 2. 2 is greater than 1. Same way, 4 into 2 is greater than 3 into 2. 4 2s are 8 is greater than 6. Same way, 4 by 2 is greater than 3 by 2. 4 by 2 is 2 is greater than 1.5. Yes, 6 is greater than 5, 2 is greater than 1, 8 is greater than 6, 2 is greater than 5. So when we add both the sides of the inequation by a positive integer, the sign of inequality is not changing. And your second property is, let me give you here second property. When we add or subtract both the sides of an inequality, by a negative number, the sign of inequality does not change. So just like positive for addition, there will be no change. The sign of inequality does not change. Same way like this. And for this, if x is greater than y and if a is negative, what happens? Let me see. Then also it won't change. If x is greater than y, then x plus minus a is greater than y plus minus a. That means minus a is negative integer. Similarly, x minus minus a is greater than y minus minus a if a is negative. Already negative I wrote here. Otherwise, we can write only if a is negative also. I already gave negative value, negative symbol, so I am not writing. Let me give you for this an example. Okay. Same way, 2 is greater than 1. So, 2 plus of minus 1 is greater than 1 plus of minus 1. Let me simplify. 2 minus 1 is greater than 1 minus 1. 1 is greater than 0. And one more. For minus, 2 is greater than, that implies 2 minus of minus 1 is also greater than 1 minus of minus 1. So 2 plus 1 is greater than 1 plus 1, that is 3 greater than 2. Yes, so when we add a negative integer or when we subtract the negative integer, both the sides also, the sign of inequality remains the same. Okay? And your third property is when we multiply, let me write here, when we multiply, third property is when we multiply or divide both the sides of an inequality by a negative number, the sign of inequality changes. The sign of inequality changes. Here we have to be very careful. What is that? If x is greater than y, then x into minus a will be smaller than x into minus a will be less than y into minus a. X divided by minus a, instead of divided by sign, let me write by. Okay? And how is that also I will explain you. And also, x by minus a will be smaller than y by minus a. Here greater is there, it will be smaller. Why and how, let me explain you. We know that 10 is greater than 5. 10 is greater than 5. Okay. Let me divide both the sides. Let me multiply both the sides by minus 5. 10 into minus 5. Here 5 into minus 5. 10 5s are minus 50. Minus 50 here minus 25. You see minus 550 is smaller than minus 25. By having minus sign, bigger number means the value remains the same. Minus 50 on the number line is towards the left side. Minus 25 is this side. I hope this is clear to you. Same way for division. 10 is greater than 5. That implies 10 divided by minus 5. Here 5 divided by minus 5. Less than, I told you already. So minus 2 is less than minus 1. So minus 2 is smaller than minus 1. So in inequations, you have to remember when we multiply or divide both the sides by a negative number, the sign of inequality changes. There you have to be careful. If that point you are able to remember well and apply well, it will be very easy for you. There will be no confusion. I hope this is clear to you. And some more things you have to learn for this chapter in the inequations that I am going to teach you in the next class. Thank you.